Hello, hello. It's the one and only Guy Johnny, also known as Coach Johnny. I'm here with 5D Transformations. And this video I wanted to share with you all today is very important. You could apply it to a lot of different areas. Whether you're dealing with people in your life that are, not aligned, whether you're dealing with narcissists in your life, whether you just are trying to improve yourself. But this is really, really important. And it's about your outer world and your inner world. You see, we have two worlds that we manage, and our consciousness is constantly managing both worlds. You have your internal world, that's the world that we don't see. Of course, that world leaks into the outer world because depending on how you feel internally determines what you do in the outer world. But then we have another thing going on. We got the outside world that's conforming to the norms of society, having to go to work, having to deal with people, being polite, the social mores and the social norms and things like that. And that is another world that we got to respect, because if you just live in your own world, how you going to pay your bills? How you going to survive? How you going to be able to interact and deal with people, And but the big thing I want to really share, man, which is just a theme of my channel, is valuing your inner world, while also paying attention to the outer world. And what I mean is, you can't have your external world overpower your inner world. And that's really key, because we're in a society where there's so much focus on the external things and the material things and the people that are outside of you. We got these phones and these devices and everything. We're looking every day, and our attention is always out here. And, when I think of it, if you don't value your internal world and really take your internal world serious and make that something of utmost importance, then what's going to happen is it's going to get crushed by the outside world. And that could go for the good or it can go for the bad, But I don't even mean good or bad. It's not really good. But I more so mean, that might mean you're successful, but your inner world is destroyed, or you're unsuccessful and your inner world is destroyed. Regardless, that inner world is getting destroyed. And here's what I mean. I want you to think of an example of a great talent like Michael Jackson. And, I could really relate to this because, I'm working on a project myself, and I've been putting a lot of time into this project, and I really want to make this my best project musically. But for any of you all, you might be working on any project, and it could be business, could be life, your career, your passions. And when you see the word passions, that's always going to be linked to your inner world, the things that really drive you internally. And what you see with him is he has so much talent externally, so talented, so many gifts, can dance, can make the whole world clap for him. People are going crazy for him. But internally, you could clearly see, and he was one of the first people to admit, there was pain. The beauty that people saw in him, he didn't necessarily see in himself. And I think we all can relate to that to a degree. There's an aspect of our inner world that, it's so natural to feel as though you need validation. I know so many people in the music world that have quit their gift of making music, or their gift of doing anything, because let's say, oh, it's not making enough money. Oh, I'm not doing this externally. It's like there's an external thing where if you're not getting that validation, I'm not getting that consistent payment, so you're just going to choose a job over your business. Or I'm not getting the credit I need, so I'm just going to stop doing my videos and my creative projects, and I'm just going to work a job. And there's nothing wrong with working a job, but in context, you got to make sure to maintain those inner passions, right? If you just throw that away because of some external marker that hasn't been met, at that point, you're letting the outside world overpower your inner world. And then let's bring this around to people. Let's say you got people saying, oh, you're not, you need to buy some more clothes, or why does your face look like that? Or why do you have that? Why do you have this? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? And it's just chipping away at your belief in yourself. And then people drop projects, or they have less faith in themselves, or they might have been made fun of or been rejected really badly by somebody and never felt beautiful again. And these are all the different ways that the outside world destroys our inner world. And the minute you let the outside world become your marker for validation is the minute that you become very, movable. And when we look at what power represents the ability to not be moved. to not be moved forward or to not be moved backward because of anything external. You stand and hold your position in space. You know what I mean? And anything that tries to move you is going to have to deal with resistance, and they're going to have to move around you. And that's the kind of internal world I want you to tap into. I want you to begin to build your project up. It might be a movie, or you might be working on a movie, or let's say you're a YouTube creator, or any kind of creator. You might do clothes. You might create, what do you call it? I know some people that do lingerie, things like that. And let's say you're making your creations and they haven't taken off yet, and you're kind of at a stagnant space. Your job is to keep working on it and figuring it out and finding a way, because that's your inner world. And there's a way for it to work in the outer world. You just got to find the space for it to fit. And if you give up on it because you're not getting the validation you want, you just let go of the thing you were put here to do. Beyond that, you know, if we wait for those external markers, I don't think anybody's going to be successful except the people that fall up under the control grid of life. And I feel as though in the day and age we're in, it's time for more people to create outside of that grid. And this is the time. I mean, I remember a period of time where there was no YouTube to speak your mind, and you had to be Tony Robbins to give advice. You had to have a infomercial. You know, to make music, you had to have a studio. There wasn't the ability to just have in-home studios. You know, you didn't have the ability back then to make your own music video. You had to pay upwards of $10,000 plus to make a solid video. You know, so there's so many things that have opened up to allow us all to create. And it's like, man, this is the time to do it. The only difference is back then it was so much star power behind you if you made it. And nowadays it can feel as though like, man, I'm creating, but it's not that same star power. But there's an audience that's for you, that's going to view you in the same light that somebody might have viewed Michael Jackson. You see, by you following your path and really believing in it and standing in it for a long period of time, you give people the ability to see that they should never quit. Because when you do make that turn, and when things do turn in your favor, and when you do create that special thing that you wanted to make, regardless of how many people see it, you start to notice something. You start to notice that you're onto something, and that something is building. And you're creating a legacy when you focus on your passions. When you focus on just the external world and the things you do for the external world, you know, it makes you subject to needing somebody else. It takes you away from your legacy, and it makes you focus on survival. What do I need to do to survive? What do I need to do to find a space? It's coming from a place of fear versus a place of empowerment. So the real last thing I want to say with all that being said is this. I want you to put the same level of passion and focus on your projects as the people at the highest levels. Like, I'm working on my album, and I feel like I'm working on a thriller right now. It's going to be my best R&B album ever. Like, I want to make sure I do everything right about this. I'm really doing a lot of research, studying different things, and I'm going to give it that essence. And I don't need anybody else to match me. But if they do, then we can hang. Then you can come and bring more fire to the project. But if you're coming from a frame that's too small, from your original frame before you knew where I was taking it now, it's not going to look well for you, because I'm not really going to be on that frequency. I need people that are viewing my project like it's Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson, and like they're working on Thriller. I need the people working on my videos to make it feel like they're working on a Thriller video. Like, it's like I'm putting that focus on my art, because that's what I'm doing. I'm coming from my inner world, and that's what it means to me. And if I give it that level of importance, other people are going to feel that. And that's when your inner world gets to that level of belief and focus, what you'll notice is the outer world will begin to match your inner world. And I think what we mess up with is we compromise our inner world to get outside success. And what happens is we don't realize that the internal is manifesting into the outer, you know, as within, so without. You know, these are universal principles. So if you give it the utmost importance, you're going to see that begin to line up in the outer world. But if you try to go the other way around, you're just going to be small, because that's how the outer world is viewing you at this point. So they're going to view you only they can only view you as high as you view yourself. And if they view you higher than you view yourself, well, then get ready, because there's going to be a problem. Because the way duality works, you know, as much as they can cheer you up, that's the same way that they can tear you down. So you never want to leave that up to the external world, because you see how celebrities get treated. It's an up and down process, and they just play with your emotions. But if you're grounded and you know that what you're working on is a masterpiece, when it drops, you don't need people to say, oh, that's a good song. Somebody could say that song was awful, and guess what? You'll be like, oh, it's too bad you have a horrible music taste, because I know this is powerful. When you look at the Kanye's, the people of our generation that have so much belief, and then you wonder why they're so successful, it's this principle that they're utilizing, and that's the principle that I'm sharing with you. So I want you to rekindle the flame when it comes to your inner world. I want you to tap back into the greatness of what you're creating. And I want you to know that you're more powerful than you could ever imagine, and that what you have to contribute is key, because everybody is creating and everybody's a part of this thing. From the Michael Jackson to the person that's making a ballad in his room that he puts on YouTube, it's all contributing to music, and it all has the capacity to touch somebody. So we're all a vehicle for our art form to deliver more art and more creation. And your own individual expression is so important, because if you don't deliver that, we'll never be able to see the version of you creating that expression ever in life or existence, which means we're going to be missing a body of work that could only have come to fruition through you. So that's the obligation that you have, and that's my message to you. So shine the light on that inner world, tap in, and remember what you started doing, the things that you love. Remember why you started doing them, and tap back into that frequency and create. So that's my message to you all. Don't let anybody bring your energy down. And if they're bringing it down, and if they're bringing lower vibration to your projects, then you already know what that means. It's time to snip and keep it moving, because that's not what time we're on. That's not what time it is. Time is too precious for that. So with that being said, I appreciate you all listening. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow the channel one day at a time, and it's growing. And we're going to get it there to where I can give you them live streams I want to give you. If you got any questions, go to your5dtransformations@gmail.com. All the information is in the bio. I appreciate y'all listening. We'll talk soon. Peace.